Progress. There is a moment in life when you finally understand a truth that sets you free. Your journey is yours, and yours alone. For so long, you may have compared yourself to others. You looked at their success. You measured your progress against theirs. You questioned your worth because someone else seemed ahead. And without realizing it, you turned your life into a competition that was never meant to exist. Rest. Because the truth is, someone will always be ahead of you in something. Someone will have more experience, more resources, more recognition. But that does not mean you are behind. It simply means you are on a different path. The moment you stop comparing and start focusing on your own growth is the moment your life begins to change. Because comparison does not build you. It breaks you. It creates doubt. Rest. It creates insecurity. It creates unnecessary pressure. And the more you compare, the more you lose focus on what truly matters. Your own progress. That is why you must adopt a new mindset. I don't care who's better. I am improving myself daily. This mindset is powerful because it shifts your focus. Instead of looking at others, you look at yourself. Instead of feeling behind, you focus on getting better. Progress. Instead of competing, you start building. And that is where real growth begins. Another important truth is that success is not a race. There is no universal timeline that you must follow. Some succeed later. Some take longer to figure it out, and that is okay. Because what matters is not how fast you move. What matters is that you keep moving. Progress is progress, no matter how small. Progress. Every day you improve, you are moving forward. Every day you learn, you are growing. Every day you stay consistent, you are getting closer to your goals. And that is what you need to focus on. Not where others are, but where you are going. Another powerful realization is that you cannot control what others do. You cannot control their success, their opportunities, their journey. So why waste your energy thinking about it? Progress. The only thing you can control is yourself, your mindset, your actions, your discipline. And when you focus on what you can control, you become stronger. You become more confident. You become more focused because your energy is no longer scattered. It is directed toward your own growth. At this stage, you begin to understand that improvement is a daily process. It is not something that happens overnight. Rest. It is built through small, consistent actions, waking up and doing the work, staying disciplined even when you don't feel like it, learning from your mistakes instead of being discouraged by them. These small efforts may not seem big in the moment, but over time they create massive results because consistency beats comparison. Always. Another key lesson is learning to celebrate your own progress, even if it is small. Rest. Even if no one else notices, even if it does not look impressive to others, because your journey is not about impressing people, it is about improving yourself. So take pride in your growth. Take pride in your effort. Take pride in your discipline, because that is what builds confidence. Real confidence does not come from being better than others. It comes from becoming better than you were yesterday. Progress. And that is the mindset you must carry forward. So stop comparing. Stop worrying about who is ahead. Stop measuring your worth based on others and start focusing on yourself. Because at the end of the day, your only competition is who you were yesterday. As you begin to shift your mindset away from comparison and towards self-improvement, you start to notice something powerful. Your energy changes. Before, your energy may have been scattered. You were thinking about what others were doing. You were comparing their results to your progress. You were questioning yourself instead of building yourself. But now that energy is being redirected. You are no longer focused on you. You are focused on you. And that is where real growth begins. Because when your focus is clear, your actions become stronger. Progress. You stop wasting time scrolling and comparing. You stop overthinking your position. You stop feeling behind. Instead, you start working. You start building habits. You start improving step by step. Another important realization at this stage is that everyone's journey is different. You don't know what someone else has gone through. You don't know their struggles, their sacrifices, their starting point. Progress. So comparing your chapter to someone else's highlight is unfair to yourself because you are not seeing the full picture. And when you compare incomplete stories, you create false pressure. But when you focus on your own path, you remove that pressure. You allow yourself to grow naturally, at your own pace, without feeling rushed. Another powerful shift is that you begin to value discipline over motivation. Motivation is temporary. Some days you feel inspired. Some days you don't. If you rely only on motivation, your progress will be inconsistent. But discipline is different. Discipline means showing up even when you don't feel like it. It means doing the work on the days you are tired, on the days you are not in the mood, on the days when no one is watching. And that is what creates real progress. Because improvement is not about how you feel. It is about what you do consistently. At this stage, you also begin to understand that failure is part of growth. When you compare yourself to others, failure feels like defeat. It feels like you are falling behind. But when you focus on yourself, failure becomes a lesson. You learn from it. You adjust, you improve. And that makes you stronger. Progress. Because every mistake teaches you something valuable, and every lesson brings you closer to success. Another important mindset shift is learning to trust your own process. You may not see results immediately. You may feel like your progress is slow. You may feel like you are not where you want to be. But that does not mean you are not improving. Growth takes time. Progress. And just because results are not visible yet, it does not mean they are not happening. You are building skills, you are building discipline, you are building a stronger mindset, and these things take time to show. So instead of doubting your journey, you begin to trust it. You trust that your effort will pay off. You trust that your consistency will create results. You trust that if you keep going, you will get there. And that trust keeps you moving forward. At this point, your confidence starts to grow. Not because you are better than others, because you are better than you were before. You see your own progress. You feel your own improvement. You recognize your own effort, and that builds real confidence because it is not based on comparison. It is based on growth. Progress. Another powerful realization is that you don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to show people that you are improving. You don't need validation for your progress. You don't need recognition to keep going, because your journey is personal. It is about becoming the best version of yourself. And that is enough. So as you continue forward, remember this: stop looking at others. Start working on yourself. Stop comparing progress. Start building consistency. Stop doubting your path. Start trusting your process. Because the moment you fully commit to improving yourself daily is the moment your life begins to change. As you continue focusing on your own growth and improving yourself daily, something deeper begins to happen. You start building a stronger identity. Our progress. Not an identity based on comparison. Not an identity based on what others think, but an identity based on who you are becoming. Because at the end of the day, success is not just about achieving something. It is about becoming someone. Someone who is disciplined, who is focused, someone who is committed to growth. And that identity is built through your daily actions. Rest. Every time you choose to work instead of procrastinate, you are building discipline. Every time you stay consistent instead of giving up, you are building resilience. Every time you focus on yourself instead of comparing, you are building confidence. These small decisions shape who you become. Another important realization at this stage is that progress is not always visible. Progress. There will be times when it feels like nothing is changing. You are working hard, but results are not showing yet. You are putting in effort, but you don't see immediate rewards. And this is where most people give up, because they expect quick results. They expect instant success. But real growth does not happen that way. It happens quietly. It happens internally before it becomes external. You are developing skills. Progress. You are strengthening your mindset. You are becoming more disciplined. And all of this is happening even if you cannot see it yet. So instead of getting discouraged, you learn to trust the process. You keep going. You stay consistent. You remind yourself that progress happened even if it is not visible right now. Another powerful shift is that you stop seeking validation. For a long time, you may have looked for approval from others. You wanted people to notice your progress. You wanted recognition for your effort. But now you are different. You don't need applause. You don't need constant encouragement. You don't need people to tell you that you are doing well, because you see your own effort. You feel your own growth. And that is enough. This is where true confidence is built. Because it comes from within. It is not dependent on others. It is not affected by opinions. It is steady. It is strong. Another important lesson is that you learn to enjoy the process. Instead of being obsessed with the outcome, you start appreciating the journey work. You enjoy improving little by little. You enjoy becoming better. And this makes a huge difference. Progress. Because when you enjoy the process, you stay consistent. You don't need constant motivation. You don't need external pressure. You simply keep going. And consistency is what leads to results. At this stage, you also become more patient. You understand that success takes time. You stop rushing. You stop feeling like you are behind. You stop comparing timelines. Instead, you move at your own pace. Steady. Focused. Progress, committed, and that patience gives you an advantage. Because while others are rushing and quitting, you are staying consistent. And over time, that consistency creates results. Another powerful realization is that your only real competition is yourself. Not the people on social media, not anyone else. Just you. Who you were yesterday, who you were last week, who you were last year. Progress, and every day, your goal is simple: be better than that version. Even if it is just a small improvement, because small improvements repeated daily create massive change. At this point, you begin to feel a sense of control over your life, not control over yourself, your actions, your mindset, your habits, and that is where real power lies. Because when you control yourself, you can build anything. So as you continue forward, remember this: you don't need to be better than anyone else. You just need to be better than you were before. Stay focused, stay disciplined, keep improving daily, and trust that your progress will take you exactly where you need to go. As you continue this journey of focusing on yourself and improving daily, you begin to notice a powerful shift, not just in your mindset, but in your life. You are no longer easily distracted. Before, your attention may have been pulled in every direction. You were watching others, comparing progress, thinking about who is ahead and who is behind. But now your focus is different. You wake up with a purpose. You know what you need to do. And instead of wasting time on comparison, progress, you invest that time into action. This level of focus is rare because most people are constantly distracted by social media, distracted by other people's success, distracted by opinions and noise. But when you remove those distractions, your progress becomes faster because your energy is no longer divided, it is fully directed toward your growth. Progress. Another powerful realization at this stage is that confidence comes from action, not from thinking, not from comparing, but from doing. Every time you take action, you prove something to yourself. You prove that you are capable. You prove that you are disciplined. You prove that you are improving. And that builds confidence, real confidence, not the kind that depends on others. Progress, but the kind that comes from your own effort. At this point, you also become more resilient. You don't break easily. You don't discourage by small setbacks. You don't give up when things get difficult because you understand that challenges are part of the process. You expect obstacles. You accept difficulties. And instead of stopping, you keep going. That is what makes you different. Another important shift is that you stop needing to compare your results. You no longer look at someone else's success and feel insecure. Instead, you feel focused. You understand that their success has nothing to do with your journey. Their path is theirs, yours, and that clarity gives you peace. Because you are no longer competing, you are building. Another powerful lesson at this stage is learning to stay consistent even when progress feels slow. There will be days when you feel like you are not improving fast enough, days when results are not visible, days when you question if your effort is worth it. But this is where discipline matters most, because consistency is not tested when things are easy, it is tested when things feel slow, when results are not immediate. Progress. when motivation is low, and if you can stay consistent during those times, you will win, because most people quit at this stage. They give up because they don't see quick results. But you are different. You keep going. You trust the process. You understand that success is built over time. Another important realization is that your habits define your future. What you do daily matters more than what you do occasionally. Progress, small actions repeated every day create big results. Waking up and working on your goals, staying disciplined with your routine, continuously learning and improving. These habits shape your life. And the more consistent you are, the stronger those habits become. You also begin to feel proud of yourself, not because you are better than others, but because you are better than you were before. You see your growth, you recognize your effort, you appreciate your discipline, and that creates a sense of fulfillment because you are no longer chasing external validation. You are building internal satisfaction, and that is much more powerful. So as you move forward, remember this: stay focused on yourself. Stay committed to your growth. Stay consistent with your actions. Ignore the distractions. Progress, ignore the comparisons. And keep improving daily, because in the end, it's not about being better than someone else. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. Now you have reached the most important moment of this journey, the point where everything comes down to a decision. You understand the mindset. You understand the process. You understand the truth. But now the question is, will you live it? Progress, because it is easy to listen to motivation. It is easy to feel inspired for a moment. It is easy to say, I will focus on myself. But the real challenge begins when this moment ends, when you go back to your daily life, when distractions return, when comparisons appear, when progress feels slow. That is where your discipline is tested. And in those moments, you must remind yourself, progress. I don't care who's better. I'm improving myself daily. This is not just a statement. It is a commitment to your growth, a commitment to your discipline, a commitment to becoming better every single day. Because improvement is not something you do once. It is something you do consistently. Every day you have a choice. You can waste time comparing, or you can use that time to improve. Progress. You can focus on others, or you can focus on yourself. You can stay the same, or you can grow. And those daily choices shape your future. Another powerful truth is this: your life will not change overnight, but your habits will, and those habits will change your life over time. So instead of looking for quick results, you focus on building strong habits. You wake up with purpose. You stay consistent with your work. Progress. You keep improving even when no one notices. And slowly, things begin to change. Your mindset becomes stronger. Your confidence becomes deeper. Your results become visible. And one day you will look back and realize how far you have come, not because you were better than others, but because you stayed consistent with yourself. At this stage, you also understand that success is not about competition. Progress. It is about progression. It is about becoming better than you were yesterday. It is about growing step by step. It is about building a life that reflects your effort. And that journey is personal. No one else can walk it for you. No one else can do the work for you. No one else can improve for you. It is your responsibility. And that responsibility is powerful because it means your future is in your hands. Progress. Another important realization is that you don't need validation. You don't need people to notice your growth. You don't need recognition to keep going, because your progress is your proof. Your discipline is your strength. Your consistency is your advantage. And at this final stage, everything becomes simple. Focus on yourself. Work on yourself. Improve yourself every single day. Ignore the noise. Progress. Ignore the comparisons. Ignore the pressure, and stay committed to your journey, because while others are busy comparing, you will be progressing. While others are distracted, you will be focused. While others are inconsistent, you will be disciplined. And over time, that difference will show. So as you move forward from this moment, remember this: you don't need to be the best. Your progress. You just need to be better than you were yesterday. Stay in your lane. Trust your process. Keep improving daily, and never let comparison steal your focus again, because your journey is yours, and your only competition is who you used to be.